What's up, everybody? It is Mr. M, and today I have a collection video. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but before I get into that, I want to talk about this cassette that I got in yesterday. This is Nightfear with Cryptasm. It's their debut EP. This is Brandon, Scourge of Vinyl's band. If you're a fan of death metal at all and you're not subscribed to him, I'm gonna leave a link in the description because you need to fucking subscribe to that dude. This band is based out of the here's a J card. They're based out of the New Jersey, Pennsylvania area. They play a crossover between death metal, thrash metal, and hardcore punk, and they do it fucking flawlessly. The cassette version has 5 songs, which clocks in at a bit less than 14 minutes. It's a pretty short EP. If you got it on Bandcamp, it includes a cover song of We Bite by the Misfits, and they did a damn good job covering that too. Like I said, if you're not subscribed to him, I'll leave a link. If you haven't listened to this band, I'm going to drop a link to their Bandcamp. I'm also going to drop a link to Graven Earth Records, which is the label that put out the EP on cassette. It was limited to 100 copies. They don't have much left, so they might be sold out. I obviously have mine, so it doesn't matter to me if they're sold out. But if you like the death metal, thrash metal crossover stuff, I'd highly recommend checking it out. And after shipping and stuff, the cassette is less than $10, so it's definitely worth the money if you have it. Alright, now into what this collection video. First up, we got Blink 182 with California. This is, I guess you could say it's a comeback record. There was 5 years between this record and their previous record. This is the first record to feature Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio. I think that's where he was from originally. In Blink 182. What's his face? I'm fucking drawing a blank. Tom DeLonge isn't on the record. He's not in the band. I've never been a massive fan of Blink 182, but some of the songs that they released were pretty catchy. I decided to give it a shot, and it's pretty much Blink 182 at its finest. There's 16 songs. There's a deluxe version of it, which has 28 songs. So if you're into pop punk, basically at its finest, it's definitely a record to check out. Next up is 2017 release, Armored State with Carpe Noctem. This was recorded live at the 2015 Wacken Festival. When they were promoting this record, when Metal Blade was promoting this record, they had released a live track of one of the songs. I can't remember. There's only 8 songs on here. They released a live track, so I was kind of hoping there would be a DVD as well, but it's not. And which kind of sucks, but it's Armored State live, and they did a pretty killer job at this show. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It's a live record by Armored State. Fucking killer if you like that shit. Next up is Chaos by Attila. If you watch the first update, the first collection video I did, I said I'm not a massive fan of Attila. I'm still not. I got the signed version. They have deathcore elements in this one, just like they did in About That Life and Guilty Pleasure, which is a record that they put out before this. But they added a lot more electronic stuff into it as well, which I didn't particularly care for. And like I said, I don't particularly care for Attila either. But it's nice to have the signed CD in my collection. Next is Chapters of Misery by Slaughter to Prevail. This is a re-release on Sumerian Records with the new song As Vulture's Circle. I'm sure you guys have heard, if you're a fan of deathcore at all, you've heard at least of their singer, Alex Terrible. He's done vocal covers and the Russian Hate Project and shit like that. This came out in 2015. No, 2016. It was one of the more prominent deathcore bands in 2016. You know, so you had Whitechapel last year. They had released Mark of the Blade, which I didn't particularly like, but I guess it was a significant record for the band. And then Suicide Silence was leading up to the shit release of their self-titled record. So, Slaughter to Prevail, if you're a fan of deathcore, Slaughter to Prevail, they're one of the top bands. And they put out their debut record this year, which I'll save that for another video. Next up is Motorhead, Clean Your Clock, Rest in Peace Lemmy. This is their final live show that they performed live in Munich, Germany, I believe. If it's not Munich, it's somewhere else. I got the special version. This has the slipcase on it. It came with an expanded booklet full of art and pictures from the show, and then the CD DVD, which I got the special fold-out version, which is a pop-up of the band. And if you've seen this at all, or if you saw Motorhead live in 2015 at all, you would know that Lemmy, of course, was not his best. He died at the end of 2015. And it shows in here that he looked really tired and really sick. He wasn't as aggressive as he usually is on vocals, I guess you could say. He was pretty quiet. He wasn't moving around as much, which sucked. But yeah, rest in peace. I mean, it's a killer live show. They played 17 songs, I believe. 16 songs. So it was career-spanning set list. It would have been nice if they had a longer set list, but shit is what shit is. Yeah, rest in peace, Lemmy. Next up is Suicide Silence with The Cleansing. My favorite record from them, in my opinion. Suicide Silence was one of the forefront when it came to deathcore bands. Mitch Lucker was a killer screamer. It sucks that he died. I know Suicide Silence would be a whole lot better now if he was still alive. But this version came with a CD sampler, which doesn't really have anything to do with it. I guess it was a nice touch because I could listen to all the other shit that Century Media was putting out. Next is Hope Drone with Cloak of Ash. This is an Australian band. They play kind of a doomy, sludgy, atmospheric black metal kind of stuff. I know that's kind of a lot to handle, but it's only 7 songs, but it's almost a double record. I believe it is a double record. It's 7 songs. It's like a couple minutes short of 80 minutes. I don't know. There's not much to say about this record. This is their debut record put out in 2015 on Relapse Records. I listened to it shortly after it first came out, and I completely forgot that the first song on there is 20 minutes long. They got a bunch of, like I said, doomy, sludgy, atmospheric stuff. They got some ambient kind of guitars, even a bit of electronics, but those are kind of subtle. Next is Pierce the Veil with Collide with the Sky. This came out in 2012. This was a groundbreaking record for them. This is a post-hardcore band from San Diego, California. It's probably my second favorite record by them. Selfish Machines is definitely my first. This record, when they put it out, this blew them up. They had that one song that they did, King for a Day, with Kellen Quinn from Sleeping with Sirens, that really blew them up as well. That put Sleeping with Sirens on a bigger map as well. There's not really a bad song on the record. If you're fan of the post-hardcore stuff, it's definitely something you'd probably like. But the vocals on it, sometimes I just can't get over it. It just sounds like a teenage girl sometimes. Which I'm sure if you like Pierce the Veil and you're watching this, you're probably gonna shit on me for that, but it is what it is. Although Selfish Machines, his vocals are a whole lot worse on that than Collide with the Sky. Next up is not music. Complaints and Grievances by George Carlin. I've always loved George Carlin's stuff. This is the first stand-up routine I heard by him, which was the list of people who ought to be killed, is on this one. And I heard it when I was like 12, I think was when I first heard it. So to hear someone say shit like that, and all the other things, like he talked about the 10 Commandments in there, and how he could narrow it down to one, and then a bunch of other stuff in here too. It was mainly the list of people that ought to be killed. That was the main selling point. And I think that's one of his best specials too, in my opinion, anyway. Next up is Avril Lavigne with Complicated. Single CD, Complicated, of course, off of her first record. This came with 2 B-sides, I Don't Give and Why, as well as the video for Complicated. Her first record is definitely one of my favorites, hands down. I don't think anything she has done or will do is ever going to top that. And if you're one of those conspiracy theorists who thinks she's dead, who the fuck knows? I honestly don't give a shit. If as long as this next record that she puts out is better than her self-titled, I'll be fucking happy. And the last CD for this update, Conquer Divide's self-titled record, put out 2015 on Artery Recordings. This is an all-female band. They have members from all around the world. One of them's from England, another one's from Serbia, and then the other 3 or 4, they're from all over the United States. This is just a basic metalcore band. Like, to be brutally fucking honest, like, I like it, but if you don't particularly like metalcore, you're definitely not gonna like it. It is a pretty fucking simple, straightforward metalcore record. They have one song, What's Left Inside, that's more of like kind of a post-hardcore or straightforward rock song. But other than that, like the entire record, like I said, metalcore at its, I guess I could say at its finest, but not really. I feel like Conquer Divide they kind of came in late. You know, if they had come in like around 2010, 2011, they would probably have fucking blown up by now. But they haven't. They've been on only like 3 or 4 tours too, I think. Since the record has been released, and even before the record was released, they did like 1 or 2 tours. But other than that, the band's been pretty inactive. Apparently, they're making another record now. It's supposed to be. It was said that it was supposed to be released this year, but it doesn't look like it. So it'll be released sometime next year, and maybe we'll see some progression from that basic metalcore sound. Maybe we'll see something better than that. But that's all for this video. Like I said at the beginning, fucking buy this. Especially if you like death metal riffs. This thing is fucking full of them. I forgot to mention that earlier. When I realized I mentioned that, forgot to mention it, I was already halfway through that fucking stack. So, yeah, buy the fucking cassette. If you can't buy the cassette, buy it on Bandcamp. Linking Graven Earth Records, Nightfear's Bandcamp down below. And if you like any of this music and you don't have it, I know this was more of kind of like a mainstream collection video. But nothing wrong with liking mainstream bands. And yeah, that's all. Thanks for liking, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you in my next video.